Hey everybody, welcome to Goose's Disney Pod. It's the season finale of the Spider-Man season. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the final stop on the road to No Way Home. And with me today is Paul Spratt, very famous comedian. Paul, how you doing today?
What's up, buddy? How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing the show, man. Fucking, you're in the season finale. How does it feel?
You saved the best for last. That's what it is.
I sure did. Paul, before we get into Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the latest movie in the Spider-Man universe, let us talk about you. When did you start? When we got you in the stand-up? When did you start? Give me your story.
When did I start? I started, actually, I've come to the realization the other day that I started 13 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
I started
2018.
when I
No, 2008.
started when,
2008.
yeah, I started when I was 25. I'm 38 now. I always loved stand-up. I didn't know it was a job you could do. So I went through like a shitty breakup. I'm one of those boring stories where I went through a terrible long-term breakup and they're like, try something new to get your out of the sadness or whatever. So I went to watch an open mic in Scranton, Pennsylvania. A friend of mine was hosting it. And then I watched, and then she came and she's like, I never recognized you. I've never seen you here before. Are you a comic? I'm like, no, I just come to check it out. And she's like, come back next week. Give it a go. And then I came back next week, and then I never stopped. It's just as soon as I got on stage, I was like, this is something I super love. And I wanted to do it. And then I kept pursuing it, moved to New York. But, very boring origin story. It wouldn't make a good comic book.
Well, it wouldn't, but I feel like it's a lot of comics. No comic has this origin story like my whole family was murdered, and then I grabbed the mic Next thing you know, it's headlining Gotham. Nobody has
Right.
that. Nobody has that
I
story.
turn my sadness into a superpower of laughter.
Yeah, and now I'm touring with Andrew Schultz. So no one has that. I mean, maybe Andrew Schultz has a story, but nobody else. Were you into comic books as a kid? Were you into comic books at all, or
I
Spider-Man?
was. I
Oh
was a
wow.
ton. It was like a bonding thing between me and my dad.
Oh really? Your
So
dad
it
was
used
into
to
that
be.
stuff too?
Yeah, I had a comic book store in Scranton where I was growing up called Comics on the Green. It's still one of my favorite comic book stores. And he would set aside, you would give him a list of what you wanted to read, and he would set aside a whole stack. You would just come pick it up. So I had every week you get a nice grip of comic books. And me and my dad would read them and talk about them together. But I was an X-Men guy. So
Oh yeah,
I read all the X-Men. And then, yeah, Excalibur, Generation X,
X
that
Force.
whole gambit. Yeah, but
Oh, and yeah, to the life of me, I think what frustrates me about some of this new Marvel stuff, like Eternals and Shang-Chi, is that like they now have the full rights to the X-Men and they're sitting on it. And
yeah,
part of
they're not
me,
touching it.
yeah, part of me thinks the heads of Marvel don't see something in the X-Men that we all do, and they're completely fucking wrong. Like, and
Yeah,
then what's frustrating now is like, I don't want to see the fucking Eternals. I want to see Iceman. Like, will you just fucking get on this and give me good versions of the X-Men finally? Like, that's Marvel's real money. And I feel like they are annoyed. I don't know. They're holding against the X-Men the whole Fox thing. I feel. I don't know. I
yeah.
feel like they're like deliberately not trying to go, not rushing into the X-Men.
Well, I don't understand it. Maybe they're scared of it because it's been done wrong so many times, and the fan base is so passionate about it. But like, nobody wanted Eternals, so I don't know
Nobody.
why they made it. Literally, nobody was like, you
It
know what,
was.
I
I think
want
it
an
was a
Eternals
test to
movie.
see like if we feed these people dog shit, will they eat it?
Yeah, and they
And
did it.
I some people did. It was. I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah, I hated it.
It was one of the worst
I
fucking
hated
things
it.
I've ever seen. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was garbage.
It was
Yeah,
fucking. It was
I was literally
horrendous.
mad when I walked out. I was like, this thing's a piece of shit. But
It felt like a homework assignment. It didn't even feel like a Marvel movie. It felt like some weird like a committee like fucking said this is the. I don't know. It was just brutal. It brutal. I went to the bathroom 5 times during that movie. Not because I had to go to the bathroom. I just needed to get
you're
out of the
just
room.
bored.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just bored. The humor was terrible. The characters. I don't know why they made it. I mean, I know why. I think it was to see if
diversity.
diversity. Well, the funniest thing is this. So, like, I went to see my family. My little cousin slash nephew. So I loved the movie, and his dad liked the movie. So they got the kid. Here's the irony. This is how stupid Marvel is. He has a figure of Icarus. You know, the guy from
Yeah,
Breaking Bad, and he likes
yeah.
Icarus. That's his favorite character. I read an article that said Icarus is never going to be in anything ever again. And
So
it's
what was the
like,
point?
that's because he flew into the sun. And I'm like, well, and I'm like, well, okay, but we never saw. But I'm like, dude, if that's the only character that kids liked, why are you not going to bring it back? Like, that's the one
Yeah.
character that appealed to my nephew. And they're like, oh yeah, he's never coming back. But we're gonna have the fat Asian guy. I don't know.
Well, I argued with my buddy because it was funny because it was like so they had diversity but still made the white dude the strongest one. And
Yeah,
then they fixed it by making him evil.
yeah,
But I was telling him like none of that you didn't fall in love with any of the characters. They everything that they was successful in every Marvel movie before was really taking the time to build up
yeah.
the personality and like the backstory. And they didn't do that with any of them. They're like, here's a group of people. They didn't even talk about what their powers were at any point. You just saw them.
You kind of had,
And
yeah,
then
you
they,
kind of figure out. And they introduced so many characters. And the thing about the Eternals, like you could probably get away with this if you decide to introduce all the Avengers in one movie or all the Justice League in one movie. You can get away with it because everyone's so different. They look different. But these
yeah,
guys all kind of similar costumes.
yeah.
They,
And their powers were kind of similar, like looking,
yeah,
even though they were like different. And I was saying too that they showed that Harry Styles is in the post credit thing in a poster, and they've never done that for any other.
because I think he's the only reason why like young girls will go see this movie. They think he's in it.
Right.
Which
But
leads then why didn't you just make him the star of the movie?
Yeah, why didn't you just put him in the movie? Why'd you save him until the end? Because he was the most interesting part of the movie,
Well, he was the
to
only
me at
one with a
least.
comic book accurate costume, and everyone else had horrible versions of their costumes. Like,
Yeah, and then they said Eternals 2, and I was like, great, boredom strikes back. So like, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna
there's
give him
no, I don't
another
think they're
one.
going to make
Like,
Eternal. I think they say they are. I don't think they are. Also,
yeah,
it was
no,
incredibly ballsy and stupid to end the movie in a cliffhanger.
yeah, like what? I don't know.
It
And then
was,
I didn't even realize that Blade was the cameo because he was off screen.
yeah. Like, why not show? It was just,
Like, why not show him? Like,
and
you just use his voice.
yeah, and yeah, it was pretty bad. It was the first chink in Marvel's armor. I feel it was the first like, what are you doing? And it's like, you need to get to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, because here's the deal: a lot of these characters are not that interesting. Like the ones you're starting to really get cocky, and no one gives a shit about Miss Marvel. They've been trying to make Miss Marvel a thing for 6 years now. No one gives a shit. People give a shit about Kitty Pryde and the New Mutants and X Force and Deadpool and Wolverine and the Human Torch and Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom. That's who people
Yeah.
want to see. Like, just go for it, man. Like,
Yeah, stop. And well, because I'm thinking that Chadwick dying really threw a loop in their plans of what they were going to do. Because I read, and yeah, I mean, you can't believe everything on the internet, but the theory
yeah,
was that Black Panther 2, the villain was going to be Doctor Doom. They were going to introduce Doctor Doom in Black Panther 2, because in the comic books he's more than just a Fantastic Four villain. He's
yeah,
a
yeah, 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 yeah.
across the board villain, and they were going to build up Doctor Doom as the big bad of the next phase. But with Chadwick dying, they had to change the whole Black Panther script and all that other stuff. So I don't know, but I don't. Why wait if you? Because there's rumors that they know who they're going to cast. I don't know if you saw that for Fantastic Four.
No, who are the
They,
rumors? If it's
uh,
John Krasinski, I think that's fake.
I really want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I want that bad. But I didn't recognize most of the names, but Seth Rogen was the name for Dr. Grimm.
Okay, they should shut that movie down. This is what I would do. I would uh I would go through the whole. This is what I would do. Sorry. Okay, you ready for this? Sorry, I had to see the text. I would do John Krasinski, Pam as Invisible Woman, and Dwight as Thing, and then and then I would just go completely insane, and then you get some young kid to play John. I think Johnny Storm should be way younger than the other characters. So I would,
Well, that's the idea. Isn't he younger in the comic books? He's the
yeah,
younger brother.
I would get I don't know. There's got to be some young actor out there, not Timothy Chalamet, but like there's got to be some young actor we don't know that's on some TV show. I would make him Human Torch. But yeah, I would just go for the complete insanity of Dwight as the Thing, because the Thing's got all you really need is the voice of the Thing. You don't really need to see the guy. And Ben Grimm looks like a normal dude. So
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. When I saw, oh, here it is Glenn Howerton as Reed Richards, Kristen Bell as Sue Storm, Chase Stokes as Johnny Storm, and Seth Rogen as Ben Grimm. I don't know who Glenn Howerton or Chase Stokes are, but Kristen Bell would be probably pretty good Sue Storm. And Seth Rogen could go either way as a Ben Grimm, but
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just like the only thing with Kristen Bell, and like I don't know. It's just like she's older now, and I hate to be like ageist, but like I don't know. I kind of want a younger Sue Storm so she lasts longer. I think Reed can get away with being older, but I think Sue's gonna be. I don't know. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? I think Sue's gonna be a certain age. We'll see.
yeah, well, because I mean, you're
Um.
going to have them around for a long time. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
Fantastic Four stories. But that's also, I think, the one thing Marvel's messing up, and that goes back to the X-Men thing, is that they've already gotten rid of giant characters that have great story crossovers with the X-Men. So how are they going to tell that story now
Well, I
once they
think you could
bring
do. I think you could do the X. You don't really need Iron Man or Captain America around to tell a good X-Men story. Like,
right.
there's never been an X-Men story that was like this was so. This X-Men story sucked until Tony Stark showed up. Um, but like, so I don't think you need those characters. You do need for Rogue, you do need Captain Marvel because she takes her powers at a certain point.
Right.
I want Rogue to beat the shit out of Brie Larson.
Yeah.
But I think they really need to course correct, and I think they thought Black Panther and Captain Marvel were going to be the focuses of this new phase, and that's not the case. I don't think Brie Larson has enough. She's not good enough, and I think Black Panther. Now that he's dead, I think Black Panther could have been the focus if he lived, but he's fucking dead. So
Right.
I think they need to bring in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four sooner than later. I think they need to start beating around the bush. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like Eternals, and I also thought Shang-Chi was kind of a misfire.
But see, I wasn't excited about it, but I still liked it.
Yeah, it was fine. It was good, but like none of these
compared to how I felt about Eternals. Eternals, I was viscerally angry, but Shang-Chi, I was like, that was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but none of these movies like have the excitement of Winter Soldier or Guardians of the Galaxy, or like just this thrill and this excitement, and they're losing it. Is what I'm saying. They're losing the thrill, and I hope No Way Home gets it back. I hope No Way Home, but
I'm actually worried that No Way Home's got a lot of problems. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think they're trying to cram too much into one movie.
They've got
I think it could be an issue.
They've got to give a significant amount of screen time to Andrew and Toby. If they're just cameos, like people are going to be very upset. Like they need to.
If they're not in them, imagine if they're not in it.
People are going to be livid.
Like people are going to lose their shit.
People are going to be livid. People are going to be. I think they are in it though. I really do. But
I 100% believe they're in it. But
I think it's smart to keep the doubt, because that is what's driving ticket sales. Because if they revealed all the surprises, people would be like, "Oh, I'll catch it when I catch it." Okay, cool. The 3 Spider-Man are going to be in it, whatever. But the fact that like people don't 100% know is, I think, what made everyone want to go see it opening night and like that first weekend, because it's like you don't know if Daredevil's going to show up. You don't know if Toby and Andrew. Now, if all 3 don't, I think people are going to be living, and I think Marvel killed themselves. But if they all show up, I think people are going to be ecstatic.
Yeah, but if it's like a 2-second cameo where they just come in and there's like one fight and you're like, okay, that was it. I think that's going to be disappointing. Like I think they painted themselves into a corner, and then like there's no satisfying way to get out of it.
Well, unless they become like I heard the original reports I heard was the second half. This is the first half script. It's just Tom Holland's movie. The second half, they become 3. They're the 3 co-lead. I think it has to be like that, and I think you need to resolve. I think you need to resolve Andrew Garfield's issues with Gwen from his movies, and you need to resolve Tobey Maguire's issues with Norman and Otto. You know, like you need to like build upon those movies. If they're in and out, I think it's a huge mistake. But if you make them all 3 leads and you have every Spider-Man movie culminate with whatever story you're trying to tell in this final battle, I think it's going to be a.
Well, I think they're already hinting about the in the trailer. You could see that MJ and Tom Holland's universe is falling almost the same way Gwen did in Andrew. Yeah. So I think that they're setting that up, that he saves her, and that there's like a huge emotional sequence. But I think Marvel didn't learn their lesson, that every time they tried to make a third Spider-Man, like Andrew never got a third one, and Toby, they tried to cram too much shit in it.
Oh, Toby's is unwatchable.
And it feels like they're cramming a ton of shit into this one.
I feel like this movie, I feel like they had a completely different script for this movie. I feel like the original script was like Spider-Man and Daredevil versus Kraven, and then COVID hit, and they were like, we need a nuclear bomb to get everyone back in the theaters. And they were like, what if we brought everyone back? And they rewrote the whole fucking script and gave Kraven his own movie. Like, because it would make sense for Kraven to be hunting Spider. I heard the original 2 years ago, the summer of 2019, I heard the idea was Kraven is hunting Spider-Man for J. Jonah Jameson. And that was the movie, which would make sense with the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But for Spider-Man, first of all, this is the big thing with No Way Home. Spider-Man has all the access of Stark Industries, right? You're telling me he can't. He also has Skrulls. They have access to Skrulls. You're telling me a Skrull can't pose as Peter Parker and someone else poses as Spider-Man, take out the mask, and it's just like actually, I'm just some random dude from Minnesota or something. Like, look,
Yeah, like something like that. Yeah.
like you're telling me they couldn't do that. Instead, he's going to go for a spell. I think they rewrote the whole script to get people back in the theaters.
Yeah.
Because
maybe, but
if you listened to a year ago, they started announcing this casting a year ago. And did you ever hear the leaked audio of Tom Cruise screaming at the crew?
yeah.
He's basically saying like the industry is hanging on by a thread, and you fuckers can't fuck up. I think there was a real fear a year ago, especially when they announced the Wonder Woman 84 going to home, that people are not going to go to movie theaters anymore. And I think this movie is designed to get people to make sure people never stop going to movie theaters. That's my
right. It's. I mean, I think you're right, but what if it's bad? What if it's not good? Yeah, then what are you gonna do? Because I mean, Marvel's kind of, they say the viewing for Hawkeye's down. Like, I think people are just, I don't know.
I think people are tired. So have you been watching Hawkeye?
I haven't watched the new episode yet. I'm going to watch it later today.
You want a
I
small
watched
spoiler?
the first two. Sure.
They're heavily teasing King.
Like yeah, well, I figured that. Yeah.
Yeah. They have to deliver Kingpin exactly as he was on the Netflix show. And they have to say at the end of Hawkeye, the Netflix shows count. And I'll tell you why. Because people are tired of these teases. Everything has been a tease that they're going to go somewhere. People are tired of this. And I think you need to have Kingpin walk out and be the exact same character he was on Netflix. I mean, not exact because he probably went through the snap and, everything. So he's a different guy, obviously, as we all are. But, like, if they alter Kingpin in any way and they're like, oh, yeah, it's not Netflix scheme. I don't think people are going to be. People, I think they need to hit a home run with Kingpin. I think people are being tired of teases. And then it's like, like in WandaVision, they expected Magneto to show up, and then it was nothing.
WandaVision, I expected so much to show up, and then it never was anything.
Yeah,
because there was also rumors that John Krasinski was going to show up as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Magneto. There was so many things, and none of it came to fruition. And then the other, I think my complaint that I've always had is none of these new things are pushing the story forward like the old ones used to.
Yeah, well, I think because COVID, they're nervous to push the story forward. I think the story going forward, even though they're taking baby steps, is that Julie Louis-Dreyfus is forming the Dark Avengers.
Right, which I think is true.
And I think they need to ramp it up. Yeah. I think there's two big stories. Kang is attacking the multiverse, and Julie Louis-Dreyfus forming the Dark Avengers, which are going to lead to new Avengers.
They're working towards Young Avengers.
I think they're working towards Young Avengers and New Avengers. But they're not really. They're kind of meandering, and I don't really want. I don't give a shit about Awkwafina. I don't give a shit about any. You need to show people want to see Punisher. People want to see Daredevil. People want to see the Fantastic Four. People want to see Ghost Rider, Namor. You need to have these characters sooner than later.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is like Eternals served no purpose.
Yeah.
It served literally no purpose to anything that the phase was going on. Like it didn't push anything forward. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of did because it gave us a new Captain America, and then the old, what's that other guy's name? I forget.
Baron Zemo.
But he was Captain. Yeah, Zemo and the other guy.
Yeah, but like Baron Zemo, when they show Baron Zemo with a mask, I was like, oh, maybe Baron Zemo is going to turn into a supervillain. He's going to form the Masters of Evil. And instead, like, he just wears the mask because he feels like it.
Yeah, and then just gets sent back to prison.
Yeah, and like in the comics, he's scarred, which is why he wears that stupid mask. And it's like,
yeah,
like I don't know. It's like I thought Zemo was gonna be the villain. Why would you not have Zemo be the villain and become a full-on supervillain? Why instead is this fucking girl? I don't know,
because everybody loved him too.
This girl looks like Michelle Wolf was the villain. Yeah, it's like, what?
But to tie it back into Venom versus Carnage, which is what you wanted to talk about, yes. I am concerned to tie it into No Way Home as that Sony's trying to create two Spider-Man universes.
Well, I think, yeah. Okay, well, let's. You hated Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I hated it.
Tell me why you hated it.
I think I hated it for the reasons that you like it, that it felt like a 90s campy, shitty action movie. I think they ruined Carnage. I think they did it wrong. I think they wasted it. I think they leaned too much into the relationship between Tom Hardy and fucking Venom. I think that was fine in the first movie. I didn't like it in the first movie, but I was okay with it.
Yeah.
But then made him like this weird, like friend bromance, like whatever thing where they broke up and they had to apologize. I thought that was stupid. And I think it ruined the whole movie.
See, I like the movie because it's weird. So I think they kind of that first Venom was not good at all, but it's boring. Here's my
Yeah.
here's my problem with the first Venom. It's long and boring, and I kind of think they realized the first Venom left them like there was a lot of places to go after the first Venom, right? But they had to make a Venom 2. And I think the fact that they embraced how silly and ridiculous this Venom is made it work for me. You know what it felt like to me? And not a shitty 90s film. It felt like a shitty 90s comic brought to life. That's a very specific flavor because as shitty as 90s action films were, shitty 90s comics are just another level of bad. And
Right.
it felt like an Image comic brought to life is the highest compliment I can give it. And not Spawn, because I'm talking like Youngblood or Wildcats. That's what this
Right.
movie felt to me. Like if you were dedicated to I have to make Youngblood the movie, but as it was in 1994, I feel like this is what this movie would be.
Well, see, my issue with this movie, as a comic book fan, and I don't know if you felt like this, it's just I was so abused by Fox with X-Men.
Oh yeah.
That's what
I
this
feel like I
felt.
was in an abusive relationship with those movies.
Yeah, that's what this felt like to me because when I watched the first Venom, I didn't read a lot of Spider-Man comics, so I didn't know. I had like a vague understanding of what Venom's backstory was, and then the first movie, they were like, "Fuck that." Now he's in like San Francisco. He's not in. There's this whole other thing.
Yeah.
They were like it's almost like the people who made the movie didn't even read the comics. They're like, "Here's Venom, and then we're just gonna do whatever we want with it."
Well, they had the problem of they had to have Venom without Spider-Man, which I don't know why they did this with Joker. I heard a rumor they're going to do it like Luthor. These villains came because of the hero. Like if
Yeah,
Batman doesn't show up, there's no Joker.
right.
If Bruce Wayne decides to like I don't know run for president and blame COVID on John McCain, there's no Joker.
Yeah.
Like so that's my thing. It's like these villains are responses. If the villain's there without Batman or Spider-Man or Superman, it doesn't fucking make sense. It's stupid.
And also, Venom's never been a villain now.
Yeah, well, he was a
So
villain for the first couple appearances. Yeah. Oh, you mean at all? Yes.
yeah, in this new version of him, unless he's going to be a villain when he goes into the MCU. But now we're never going to get the right Venom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now Marvel's going to partner with Sony. They're going to bring Tom Hardy's Venom into his universe somehow because he somehow. That also annoyed me. Is the post-credit scene, he just magically transports into the MCU.
Well, I
Like,
think
how lazy.
I
Like,
think he's the sixth villain. I notice we only see 5 villains. I think he's the sixth
yeah.
villain. So like, there's a Sinister Six. So like, I think.
But where's Vulture? Where's Scorpion?
Well, Vulture and Scorpion are already in the MCU. So.
Right, but like, why build those characters up? Even set
Well,
up
I
a
think
post-credit scene at
people-
the end of Homecoming and then
I
never
think Doctor
leaves it
Strange
again.
pulls 6 people when he does the spell. Whatever this spell to forget, even though they could have just fucking said fake news. This spell to forget that he's Spider-Man. I think he pulled Venom. Venom gets pulled alongside Green Goblin and all these other guys. Yeah.
But there's one Green Goblin that doesn't look like Norman.
No, that is
The
Norman. He
mysterious
just has
one.
the mask off.
Oh,
It's
he
just
has a
bad
different
CGI
one.
in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they're like trying to create something else out of it or something like that.
No,
I don't know.
it's just terrible CGI.
Okay.
They're just not very good at their jobs.
Right, but like it's just I don't know. I'm tired of people who get signed on to make comic book movies and then don't use the comic books to make the movie.
Well, yeah, the problem
Like the
with
story
Venom,
is laid out for you. You just have to literally copy it. And
the
we'd all
problem
be
with
like, this is awesome. Like that's all you have to do.
the problem with Venom, like so this is a good example. The Winter Soldier. You can't do the Winter Soldier in one movie. You've got to build it. And they
Right.
did that. They committed to it. They got if you just see Captain America, the first Avenger, and you don't know the Winter Soldier story. A lot of people don't because they don't read the comics. It's just like, well, that's his dopey friend, like whatever, that's his dopey friend. So then when the Winter Soldier shows up, Winter Soldier, and it's like, oh my God, I should have paid attention. We know because we read the comics, but the average person is like, shit, I should have been paying attention to that guy in the first movie. And what happened to him? He's got a cybernetic arm. What's going on? And you build the character, and then in Civil War, when he's a good guy at the end, and he's a good guy in Infinity War, you're like, I love this fucking guy. Now everyone loves the Winter Soldier.
Right.
Because you told his, and I think Venom's the same thing. You need to tell that story. You need to have Spider-Man get the alien suit. You need to have him not get along with Eddie Brock at the Daily Bugle. You need to have Eddie Brock fuck up reporting. You need to have Spider-Man catch him. You need to have the suit go away. You need the suit bond to Eddie Brock. You need Eddie Brock to be a villain. Then you need Eddie Brock to be a good guy. Then you need Carnage to show up. That's like 5 or 6 movies.
Right.
But people will stay with that character if you do it over 5 or 6 movies.
But they did the way they brought Carnage. Like I was just like, this isn't even how Carnage comes. Like he bites.
He did bite,
I was like, what? Come on.
Here's my
and
other
they wasted
reason
Woody
why I
because
like.
Woody was a great Cletus.
He was good. You know
it.
what? The other thing, because this movie just embraced being weird. I like the animated sequence of Cletus Cassidy's life.
Yeah.
I like that because the movie was just committed. I think they knew, like, we're trapped. Let's just be goofy. And I also like about this movie that it's 90 minutes long.
Yeah, it was fast.
Because every other fucking superhero movie now is like a 2.5 hour thing. Even Hawkeye doesn't need to be 6 hours. I'm watching this show and I'm convinced they could have done this in a 3-hour movie. And probably been better. Like, not everything needs to be long, and Venom is just like boom, 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 boom. It's over. Oh, here's Spider-Man. Bye.
Yeah. Well, at least I was happy about that because Eternals tortured me for 2.5 hours. So
yeah, and I think Let There Be. No, he was good. I also like Shrek, the female. Did you like Shrek? I liked her. Shriek, whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah. But I don't know if that's like comic book accurate or whatever.
It pretty much is. They didn't date as kids. He meets her in the mental hospital and they fall in love. Carnage and her. But it is to a certain extent, yes.
And now what is the cop going to be Carnage? That's what they're hinting at.
No, well, that cop becomes Toxin, who is another. So I think the cop becomes Toxin in the next movie, unless. Well, Venom's got to get back to his universe to fight Toxin. I don't know. So we'll see.
So what, you're going to get a cameo of Venom in the MCU for a second and then they're going to send him back? Like, it's just, what's the point?
Oh, I hope they don't do that. That'd be brutal. Yeah.
But here's my thing is I'm thinking that they bring Andrew and Toby back and then they split. So Tom Holland stays the MCU Spider-Man. And then
I think they do go back. Here's my other theory. I think the Toby Spider-Man's gonna be in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, like an old Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think Doctor Strange is gonna like assemble a team from the. I mean, we're gonna have we have to have some cameos in that if it's
right.
And I think because Sam Raimi.
Well, there's rumors Hugh Jackman comes back as Wolverine. And
I also heard Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, which I don't want.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
I don't want that.
It's time for a new Wolverine. Stop going back to the old Wolverine. The only acceptable Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine is for a Deadpool Wolverine movie with him and Hugh Jackman, because that would be fantastic. But that's the only reason I would want that.
I mean, what I wouldn't mind if you firmly establish the Fox universe as this completely separate universe in the multiverse, and Doctor Strange is in it for a few minutes and then leaves. That's fine, because then you can you don't have to worry about bringing back the old actors into new roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they shove Wolverine in the MCU at the end, like if they shove Hugh Jackman into the MCU at the end of Doctor Strange, that I have a problem. I do think you need a new Wolverine. I think you need to get rid of everybody but Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, you need to start completely fresh.
Yeah, everyone. And I'm including Domino and Cable from Deadpool. I think everyone needs to go away except for Ryan Reynolds. And it's very easy You could literally have Ryan Reynolds just walk into the screen of any Marvel movie and be like, "Well, guess I'm in the MCU now. All right,
Yeah.
see you later." You know
Done
what I mean? Like,
deal.
it doesn't need to be a big deal with Deadpool. Which is what I thought he was going to be the after credits of Endgame. I thought it was literally going to be Deadpool showing up in the MCU,
Yeah.
and they didn't do that because they're fucking.
I don't know why they haven't done it yet. They have him. Why are they not using him? Because the rumors were that he was going to be a bunch of cameos. He was going to take place of the Stan Lee cameos. He was going to be Deadpool cameos.
Well, I know something happened in Ryan Reynolds' personal life, and he's taking a break from acting, so they've completely stopped developing Deadpool 3. I don't know what happened in his personal life, but he is taking a break from everything right now. I guess he saw Red Notice and saw how bad it was. And that's the question is
I
like,
like Red Notice.
You
But
like
I
Red
also
Notice?
I also went into it knowing it wasn't gonna like sometimes if you go into it watching an action movie, you're like, I know this is gonna be bad. And then you end up enjoying it.
It's hard for me to watch stuff on Netflix because I just feel like everything's like bad on Netflix, and we just kind of accept it because it's like more or less free, you know.
Right.
But
That
I don't
makes
know.
sense.
Netflix is like every time I watch something on Netflix, like a movie, I'm like, what am I watching? And especially if it's a Netflix original,
Yeah.
like I don't know,
I,
but yeah, let's get more. We haven't hardly talked about this movie. I don't know. I liked it. It was light, breezy, fun. Even the fucking dopey boyfriend. I thought it was funny that they kept Michelle Williams with that boyfriend. Even he kind of like played a part in the final battle. I liked Venom being scared of
Carnage.
Carnage. I don't know. I
Yeah, I mean
liked
that was funny.
I liked
But
Venom being like fuck this guy and biting the head off of Cletus Cassidy. I don't know.
yeah.
I just kind of think like they're fucked already with this Venom, so they're just having fun with it. So I'm just like, yeah, let's just have fun with it because they already started. They already started like 90 miles behind any other version of Venom because there's no Spider, you know.
Right.
So
But
I don't.
you just like resigned to giving up that you're like, well, they already fucked this up, so I'm just gonna enjoy it for what it
Yes,
is.
yes, that's exactly how
And
I feel.
that's
Like
why you enjoyed it. I didn't give up yet because now Marvel gave me hope that they could do it right. Because
well,
Fox abused me forever. And then I was like, all right, nobody's ever gonna make a good superhero movie. And then Marvel was like, we can. And I was like, all right. And then now Venom comes back out. I'm like, oh, they still fuck stuff up. So
yeah. Well,
and now Eternal, so now I'm losing hope. Now I'm worried. So
Turtles. Did you
that's
like Loki? I fucking hated Loki. That was another show.
I liked it for what it was.
They just keep teasing that they're gonna do something. That's the thing with a lot of these Disney Plus shows. Loki was they keep teasing something's gonna happen or someone's gonna show up, and then nobody shows up and nothing happens.
Well, at least Kang showed up this time.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Kang
Like,
showed up. Yeah.
so because like they were like Kang's gonna be in there. I'm like, all right, well, because I was so abused from Wanda and Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I'm like, nobody's showing up in this show. So,
Yeah.
and I think just Tom Hiddleston's so good as Loki
It
that
would
it's
have been
like,
funny
and
if they walked into that room and it was like Agatha Harkness or something like just like what? Like, really?
well, see, that's the thing is Tom Hardy actually is a very good Eddie Brock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's like they got the right guy, but then they put him in the wrong movies.
they
And
did.
Venom CGI wise is great. He looks
Yes.
great. He looks like the comics. It's not the shitty version that we got in Spider-Man 3. Like it
Oh,
makes sense.
dude, that's the other thing too is like people like this movie needs to be rated R, and like here's the thing: Venom and Carnage, they're both violent characters, but Spider-Man, and even if you go back and read Spider-Man, they're really trying to appeal to kids, even though these characters
Yeah.
like murder everyone. It happens off screen or it's very downplayed. There's never been like a Venom Carnage thing where it's just rated R and there's
Yeah,
blood
it's
and
just blood
guts.
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
it's
like when
always
Jonas Barnes kind of said there needs to be Carnage needs to be rated R. It's like, but he never was because even though he's a serial killer, he is still in a kid. He's in a kid's property. And I know
yeah.
that's weird to say, but he is. He's in a kid's property. So you go back and reread the old Carnage books. It's kind of like what would you do if you had to write a serial killer into Little Mermaid? How would you do it? That's kind of how they have
Yeah.
Carnage in the old Spider-Man comics.
Well, that's how old, like all the real violent stuff, like when, other than certain like giant
Yeah.
moments in Marvel, most of it occurred off screen or
Mhm.
off panel if you're talking about comic books. So, like, you can have them bite heads off people and not show it.
By the way,
So it's still,
I did a count of how many people died in Maximum Carnage. I don't know if you ever saw that on Facebook. It was like, I think at one point, because he kills everyone. Oh, no, he kills half of the village. He kills about 40,000 people just in the village alone.
yeah.
It was up to like 100 something thousand people murdered in like 4 nights by Carnage.
Right.
And like it's just like swept under the rug the next day. And I'm like, that's why these comics are so ridiculous. But it's like kind of funny that like 100 to 200,000 people die. And like at one point they're like, hey, what about the X-Men? Oh, they're busy. Busy doing what? The entire East Village was wiped out overnight.
Yeah, no, and I think that's also a problem that the MCU has walked into.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, especially you establish that so many characters are in New York, so many heroes are just in New York alone. So
Yeah.
like anytime something wild happens in New York and you're like, where's everybody else? Like,
Oh, yeah. Or what about like now, like so Eternals, like so Shang-Chi, his dad had these really powerful rings. Well, how come when Iron Man was destroying his terrorist group, he didn't show up and kick Iron Man's ass? Because pretty apparent if you have the 10 rings, you could just beat the shit out of anybody.
yeah,
And then also like why did the Eternals were always around? How come they didn't get it? Like you can there's all these super secret powerful people that were around the entire time, including Captain Marvel, by the way, who just never came around.
yeah,
Like the guy with the rings. He's really the Mandarin, but they don't call him the Mandarin, but it's the fucking man. The Mandarin, the
yeah.
Eternals, Captain Marvel, the
Well, that was
Scroll.
the issue with Endgame is Captain Marvel didn't show up until they were right about to lose, and then they were like, "Hey, she's here now," and
Yeah,
you're like,
and
well,
what was
"That was
she
bullshit."
doing?
Yeah, where was she the whole time?
Yeah, and where was she?
So
She didn't hear about Thanos massacring. And then I remember the end of the line in Endgame, like, how come you weren't here to help Earth? There's a lot of other planets that need my help. Really? Because Thanos has been slaughtering half the
planets.
population of planets for apparently 20 years, and you've done nothing about this.
Yeah, yeah. Unless they fix that in the next Captain Marvel movie, like here's what she was doing that whole time. Because even like I didn't, a lot of people were fine with that, the Eternals excuse of why they didn't stop Thanos, and
Or
I
World
thought
War
it was such
II.
a bullshit. Like, okay, but then at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, humans are worth saving." So like, you just let them die for this long, and then you're like, "Well, the whole planet's gonna blow up, so I guess we'll intervene now." Like, what? You didn't give a fuck for centuries.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Once you start reading, that's my thing about like the superhero that never interferes troop. Once you start reading about world history, it's like when you read about what really went down in Nazi Germany, I would have the Eternals arrested for not interfering.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
that didn't like that didn't affect you at all? Like you knew about like, dude, I don't want to get into it. I got into, but like there's shit that no one talks about the Nazis were doing to like children.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
didn't want to fucking get involved in that
Yeah.
you were like, nah, I'm just gonna sit here and read this book. Like it takes you out of it. It's like I think the Eternals are actually villains that they didn't interfere in.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's
You didn't
also
go,
funny because, like, I think it was like a selfish superhero thing. Because they're like,
yeah,
oh, we got to save the planet. I'm like, no, because you didn't want your life on that planet to end.
yeah.
Not that you cared about, because you should have cared about everything. We were nuking each other at one point, and you were like, no, we're good.
Well,
Like,
just think about 9/11, right? If Cersei went to 9/11 and transformed the rubble to water, it would have saved thousands of lives.
yeah.
Like she could have like you tell me you saw 9/11 and you're like that's a shame.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a
move on
real
for dinner.
bummer.
That's a real bummer. What are
Yeah,
you gonna
like,
do?
oh, well, these humans, man, they're out of control. But
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to read
But
this
only if the
book.
deviants. Was there a deviant? I don't know. It
Yeah.
was a bunch of Arabs.
Was
All
there a
right.
deviant flying the plane? Oh no, just terrorist. All right, well it's fine.
It's
It's just
as you were.
as you were. But yeah, I don't know because I mean, would it? I almost hope Venom's not in No Way Home.
I think he's gonna be the after credits.
You think so?
Yeah, I think my theory is he's gonna be in Dark Avengers because there's Venom becomes the government pretends Venom is Spider-Man in the Dark Avengers, and he like transforms his body to look like Spider-Man. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is eventually going to. The reason why they brought him in the MCU is Julia Louis-Dreyfus is going to recruit Eddie Brock into the Dark Avengers. That's my theory.
But how do you put him into the universe permanently?
I mean, he's already there. We haven't.
Right, but if your theory is that Doctor Strange brought him in with the other six, so
well, maybe
assuming
like
at
when
some
they do that,
point
because
Doctor Strange sends him back.
if Doctor Strange doesn't know he's in the MCU, then how can he send him back? That's my thing. Or
I don't know. It just feels like they're kind of fucking up the Doctor Strange character now too, because they're really taking some liberties with him kind of just being willy-nilly with it. I know he was that way, but then he never learned his lesson from like all of these other previous.
Well, yeah, they're kind of using him as catch-all to like do things, and I think also Wanda is eventually going to become that too. Where like these two, if they need something wacky, if they need something weird to happen, they're going to have Doctor Strange or Wanda fuck up a spell. Which is like, if you're this bad, if Doctor Strange, dude, if you're this bad at a spell, like you made a spell to like make people forget Spider-Man, now all of a sudden you have like villains from like 4 different universes showing up. Like, how are you this bad at your spell? You're really not the Sorcerer Supreme. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, like nobody else has the same. But also Wanda's got to have a villain turn at some point.
I think she's villainous in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, but I think Sam Raimi. I think the reshoots is because Sam Raimi went too hard, and now they're worried that Wanda's going to be unlikable because he made her such a villain, and that's what I think the reshoots are. They saw it and they're like, "Ooh,
well,
we got to tone this back."
I mean, she's trying to get her kids. Her husband's dead. I mean, she has the right to be a villain,
right?
You know, I mean, I don't know. It's like,
but they made her so likable at the end of WandaVision that to make such an aggressive villain turn. I think,
but she already was a villain by what she did to the people in that town.
Right, but then she kind of fixes it.
Kind of.
And then, I don't know. So, it's just how much they get away with just being shitty for a little while. And they're like, oh, my bad. Like, I just lost my mind for a little while. And everybody's like, that's fine.
Well,
like,
yeah, it's
we forgive you.
Women can be like that. Men can't. Like, Icarus couldn't be like, oh, it just was weird. No, he has to go die. But
yeah, he has to fly into the sun.
And I would have kept Icarus to be like the evil Superman on the Dark Avengers. That's what I would have done. But guess not.
Yeah. I don't know, because even the end post-credit of Venom, even how they made, like, why is he licking Spider-Man? Why does he care about Spider-Man? Why does he even? He's never met him.
Here's another theory I have, and so I heard someone read this, because Venom was shot before COVID, right? It was finished,
right?
What if? Remember like for a brief moment that the deal was over, Sony and Marvel weren't going to work together anymore.
Yeah.
What if they filmed this as a way to get Tom Holland out of the MCU by getting Venom? In other words, like before they all they knew is Venom shows up at the end of Far From Home. What if Venom? That was like maybe the original plan was Venom grabs Tom Holland and brings him into the other universe, so they don't have to have him in the MCU anymore.
Right, just like another way to keep making.
It's an escape route. Yeah, maybe they originally wrote Venom shows up the MCU as an escape route. So when Tom Holland stops referencing MCU stuff, if the deal was completely gone and he's out of the MCU, it's not weird, you know?
Right.
Because they did end it on such a cliffhanger. You have to address the MCU in the next movie, but I don't know. It's just like maybe they filmed as an escape route so they could get Tom Holland out of it. I don't know.
Are they gonna? Because did they sign?
No, the deals. I think Sony realized it would be incredibly fucking stupid to ever end this deal. So
yeah, because they're both basically printing money.
Yeah, and
right now.
Sony. I think Disney paid Sony a huge amount of money to put their movies on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
and so It's just a mutual
Because all
beneficial.
this other Spider-Man movies just showed up like what, yesterday or the day before?
Well, I know Spider-Man showed up on Peacock, which the original Spider-Man. So.
No, all the Spider-Man movies are on Disney now. All the original ones.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, I think I saw everybody losing their mind about it. Let me go to the.
Maybe today. Maybe this morning. That's
I
smart.
think it was the other day.
That's very smart if that's true.
So you can go back and watch like all the original.
I know all the
ones, but,
Spider-Man
like,
cartoons are on there, which I do want to get into like some of the newer Spider-Man cartoons on there one day.
like what?
The Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and the Peter Parker Spider-Man cartoon that was on Disney XD.
Oh yeah, but now they're making. Do you see this
The X-Men
Spider-Man
reboot.
freshman year or something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
making.
Mm-hmm. But no, but there's like there was a Guardians of the Galaxy show I want to watch. The problem I had Disney XD, they would I don't even know why they made these shows, dude. They would air Guardians of the Galaxy like at 7 a.m. on Saturday, never replay it, and I'm just like they wouldn't advertise it. Not that I would sit and watch Disney XD all the time, but it's like why would you not replay the shows people want to see? They like almost like buried those shows. Same thing with like Clone Wars and Rebels when it was
Well, I
on
guess I'm
Disney
wrong
XD.
because it's not there.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think they're on Peacock, some of the original Spider-Man movies. So if you have Peacock,
Oh, maybe that's where it ended up at. But
yeah,
I think I saw it on TikTok or something that people were talking about that. But
yeah.
I
But
thought it was Disney Plus the way people were losing their minds. But
no,
I guess I was wrong.
you're wrong. You're wrong about that as well. So you hated the movie. I liked it. But do you already have your tickets to No Way Home?
No, I'm probably gonna get them today. I was trying to figure out where I was gonna go see them because they've sold out so fast.
Yeah,
But
I got the night of. I'm going. So I have a gig. I remember saying like a few months ago, I'm not doing any fucking gigs that day. I'm just gonna go see that movie as soon as I can. And then I took a gig in Long Island without realizing it was that date. So I'm going 10 a.m. in the morning on that Friday.
on the 17th,
Yeah,
because I think I'm going. If the tickets are still available that I was looking at, I'm gonna go on the 16th.
the Thursday. I see. I can't have a gig. I have a show unless
Yeah.
they have like a showing Thursday at noon. Then I could go to that. But like,
I don't know why they don't just keep adding showings until people stop buying tickets. That's what
yeah,
I would do. I would just like, because especially how hammered theaters were getting over COVID, I would
Mhm.
just be like, if it keeps selling out, I'll keep adding times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just keep like they did with Batman, like The Dark Knight. Remember that? It was like you could see it up. They had like 3 a.m. showings.
I remember that. Yeah,
Do that with
they did that
Spider-Man.
for Force Awakens. I had a friend go at a 5 a.m. showing of Force Awakens.
Yeah. So I mean, why can't they do that for Spider-Man? Like, let's like get these theaters get the money back into it. Because if that's the idea behind what you said,
Mhm.
this is a movie to get people to go back to theaters, then make it that big of an event that everybody keeps going. Make as many
Gotta
showings as
keep going
you
back.
possibly can.
See this fucking Spider-Man thing. But,
Yeah.
well, hey, listen, Venom, Let There Be Carnage is on digital now. If you want to rent it, it's a quick 90 minutes. I think it's enjoyable. You hated it.
I
Sorry you
think it's
hated it.
trash. It's a dumpster fire of a movie.
But if you like 90s, listen, if you like 90s comics, or you have any type of 90s nostalgia, I think it's a fun ride. So I think it's the best they could do. They made chicken salad out of chicken shit. That's what I'll say about it.
Yeah, but you still have to eat that chicken shit salad.
It's that, yes, but it is the best tasting chicken shit salad that you could possibly. If you have to make a chicken shit salad, I think the Venom Carnage guys hit a home run.
I guess. I don't know.
No, I know. I guess you just don't want to eat chicken shit. Well, it's understandable, but if I have to eat chicken shit, I have to eat it. So
I ate
It's
so
my
much
thing.
chicken shit with the X-Men movies. I'm over it.
Woo! When I did a rewatch, because I remember thinking First Class was such a great movie, and you rewatch it, like, no. The problem with the X-Men comics are so good. That's the thing. You don't really have to do much to make a good X-Men movie. Just if you like really read, there's so many great moments in the X-Men comics that I'm sorry.
No, the stories are there. You just have to
Yeah,
take it and put it.
and the designs are there. Everything's like a home run, especially when you read the Chris Claremont issues. I think it's one of the greatest runs of in comic book history. I really do. And there's so much to pull from in his runs that you don't really need to go anywhere else. And the fact that like they didn't even like, I feel like they just dismissed the comic and they just did their own thing. It's like, you don't need to do that.
Well, that's what I was mad because Age of Apocalypse was a great story.
Yeah.
In the comics, it was great, and I was like, "Oh, they're doing Age of Apocalypse," and I was like, "They didn't even no build up. They're just gonna do Age of Apocalypse."
And it
like,
was really Age of Apocalypse. It was just like Apocalypse.
It was just Apocalypse. Yeah,
and
and I was
it's
like,
Mystique versus Apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there are some things I did like about First Class that I hope maybe I don't know. I know you have to full on recast, but James McAvoy was a pretty good.
Oh, and also the guy
Charles
as
Xavier.
Magneto was very. Oh, who's Magneto? Was it James? Oh, who was it?
Fassbender.
Fassbender
Michael
was a great
Fassbender.
Magneto. I thought he was great.
Yeah,
And the scene
and
in
then
sorry,
Olivia Munn was a pretty good Psylocke.
the scene
I mean,
in Apocalypse where Magneto's daughter dies. I thought that was a great scene. It was almost like from a different movie.
Yeah,
And the rest of the
But-
movie's like pretty bad. But
trash. It's really bad.
that was like that was almost like, what movie is this? Because this is not the movie I've been watching. Like when his family dies and he starts killing the town, that was a great scene. So I don't know. There's always a potential. The X-Men have so much potential, and I don't know. I
Well,
just
if
hope
you do it right, you can make 20 years with the same cast. If you cast it right, you could
You know
have
what's
2 decades
depressing?
probably worth of movies.
you know what's the problem? My friend goes, "Man, I just hope they do Age of Apocalypse right. I really hope. I really want the MCU to nail Age of Apocalypse." And I'm like, in order to properly do that movie, you need like years of build up. So we're probably not going to see that movie until like we were both the same age, 40. We're 55 or 60 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah. We're gonna be old fucks.
For them to do that right, like
Yeah.
we're gonna be senior citizens, and like it's depressing, but it's also kind of exciting because I do think if they,
Well, see, I would appreciate it if they put the work in.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
I'll have a colostomy bag, but I'll be very happy.
yeah. Well, I won't have to miss any then. I could just pee in my seat.
Just be- Oh, good. Hope I have a family by then. Jesus Christ.
But I'm
I'm
just
just not
saying
a-
because, like, if you just start right and build the original team and then just build it out, it's right there for you. Just take it. Start with the original 5 and just build it out, and it'll be fantastic.
And you have 20, yeah. And God, they're gonna fuck it up. All right. So Paul, where it's gonna be Eternal? We're gonna be watching Eternals 4 or 5 years from now. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but I'm
Paul,
gonna
where
keep
can people
going
find
because
you?
I'm an asshole.
Yeah. Where can people find you on social media, Paul?
I'm at Paul Spratt on everything. Super easy.
Super easy. He's everything, even MySpace.
Yep. Even
Damn.
MySpace.
Wow. Hell of a guy. Guys, you can find me, Ray Goots, on Instagram and Twitter. Please follow the podcast, Goots Disney Pod, and subscribe. We had a whole season. We even did the 70s Spider-Man movies, which I don't think you probably don't even know exist, huh? They're on YouTube.
No.
Yeah,
I had no
they're like
idea.
they just re-edited TV show episodes and put them in theaters in England. We covered everything. Season 3 was the live action remakes, all the Disney films. Season 2 was all the Pixar films, and season 1 was the Disney animated films. And next week we're starting season 5, Star Wars. You like Star Wars, right?
I do. Even though I'm more of a Star Trek guy. I'm more of a Star Trek guy.
That's racist. But next week we are going to cover the original Star Wars. We're kicking it off with the first Star Wars. Dustin Chafin will be the guest. And then a week after that, we're doing the Star Wars holiday special, just in time for Christmas. Chris Murphy will be the guest. And then we're going to do Empire, so on and so forth. You get the idea. Star Wars is next week. We're taking a break from Marvel. Enjoy No Way Home. It's out in 2 weeks. And Paul, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
It was a
It's
good
good
time.
to argue about nerd shit with somebody who gets it.
Yeah, argue about nerd shit, talk some Spidey. And here we are. We are at the end of the Spider-Man season. We'll see you next week for Star Wars. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.